Let's bring in Kaylee McGee, the editor of Restoring America at the Washington Examiner, to talk about where the presidential election stands right now. Kaylee, good morning to you. You just heard the vice president, or the first lady, rather, brush off those poll numbers, as Brooke just said. But the Wall Street Journal did some analysis of those numbers as to why the president is down and Trump is up. And they say at this moment, under this president, the mix of black, Latino, and young voters who have been crucial to electing Democrat candidates are withholding support from Biden or shifting towards Donald Trump, a trend particularly dramatic among men. By contrast, it is hard to find a group where Biden is improving on his standing from the 2020 election. I am sure many people, including the Biden campaign, would love to know why this is happening and how seriously we should be taking these numbers 7 months out. So what do you think about this?
Right. And what these numbers really do confirm is that there is no Biden comeback. He's not bouncing back in the polls. He just continues to drag further and further behind Trump, in large part because of those key demographics you just mentioned. I'm particularly interested in watching what's happening with the young adults vote, people my age. And it's remarkable to see this massive shift where you see so many young people fleeing the Democratic Party in droves. And keep in mind, this is a demographic that turned out overwhelmingly for Biden back in 2020, and now they're swinging about 7 points towards Trump. That's really significant. And I don't know if it necessarily translates for a massive youth turnout in Trump's favor in November. What I think is much more likely is that a lot of young adults are simply not going to vote at all. There was a recent Axios poll that asked young adults if they plan on voting in November. 58% said no. And again, this is a demographic that tends to lean Democratic. If they stay home, Biden is going to have a very difficult time making up that lost ground.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the Democrats don't want to have happen. So the vice president is in North Carolina today. She did an interview with a local radio station there to talk about the Biden-Harris campaign platform. Take a listen to what she said.
It's going to be a follow-through on everything else, but with an emphasis on increasing minimum wage, the work that we need to do to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act, especially in states like North Carolina, so many in the South, but, around the country that are trying to restrict people's access to the polls. And then, I helped write the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act when I was in the Senate. We need to get that passed.
Thank you so much, Vice President Harris.
Respect, I get it.
Okay, so Kaylee, Democrats really want to win North Carolina because it was former President Trump's weakest win in 2020, so they feel like it's within their reach. So that's why she's there. She's been there about 4 times now. But then you hear about what she's promoting, and she talked about a few things there, but she spent a lot of time talking about voting rights. Do you think that's going to sway any voters?
No, and it goes in line with many of their other claims about how this election is about saving democracy itself. And that's a very difficult pill to swallow when the exact same party is often using the most undemocratic means to keep their opponents off the ballot. You remember the efforts to keep Trump off the ballot in states like Colorado and Maine. The DNC is currently filing a lawsuit to keep RFK Jr. off of certain state ballots. So it just doesn't really add up here. And I think this election is unique in several ways in that voters, for really the second time in American history, have the opportunity to judge both presidential records of the current front-running candidates. And that's really what this is about, is who does a better job as president. Did Trump do a better job, or did Biden? And that Wall Street Journal poll that we were talking about earlier found that voters overwhelmingly approved of the job that Trump did and overwhelmingly disapproved of Biden's performance. And so if you had to choose between who's the better president, who do you think is going to come out on top?
Yeah, the other element of the election is money. Trump and the Republican Party just announced a solid March fundraising total of $65.6 million. Still, the Biden campaign has $155 million cash on hand. So Trump is closing in on that number, but they are admitting that Biden's going to have the edge when it comes to money. Kaylee, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.
the soft embrace of morning light, groggy and warm yet hopeful inside. A whisper of promise, a sense so sweet, reviving energy with every heartbeat. Oh yeah, stumbling down the stairs with grace, favorite moment, cherished embrace. Each sip, a dance of enchantment, caffeine's elixir, a daily enchantment. Ooh, yeah. Coffee in the morning, my lifeline, guiding through life's chaotic design, finding every sip of morning zest. In that brew, I find my best. The morning sun, a gentle caress, bathing the world in warmth no less. A symphony of flavors in every pore, awakening senses, a ritual to adore. The kitchen hums a quiet tune as dreams unfold not too soon. Pouring the elixir, stories take flight. In the world of coffee, my spirit aligns. A mug cradled, a vessel of tales. Each sip, a dialogue as morning unveils. Bitterness, a new world of tales. As the day unfolds, a caffeinated tale in morning symphony, where moments prevail. Coffee, my companion in the sunrise quest, in the ritual of morning, my eternal zest. The world awakens, a canvas so bright, in the palette of dawn, a captivating sight, a dance of flavors, a morning trance. In the world of coffee, life's sweet romance.